Welcome to Rubber Chicken with a podcast in the middle. I'm Gordon.
I'm Alistair.
And this week, well, we're just having a bit of a chat.
Yeah, because you need a bit more time to play the rest of Tales.
Oh,
so.
I just need time to psych myself up to play it.
So in the meantime, we're going to talk about some more general stuff, some news, and
Yeah, some stuff's come up.
various thoughts.
Yeah. Some Monkey Island stuff. I just wanted to start off by saying how cool is it to have Monkey Island news to talk about? Isn't that weird?
Yep, I was thinking about that again today, how weird it is.
Just now in the bath, you were thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. With my rubber duck. I was thinking how strange it is that, and how cool it is, as you say, to actually have a new Monkey Island game. And not only that, how weird it is to think that we are actually getting Ron Gilbert's follow-up to Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge.
But at what cost? Yeah, it's kind of a. Remember back in the dark times when there was like nothing to talk about, like there was no Monkey Island news ever, and now there's stuff.
Like, which dark times are we talking about? Are we talking about between Escape and Tales, or between Tales and Now?
I'm talking about between Escape and Now. No, but yeah, between Escape and Tales and between Tales and Now. I kind of thought there was never going to be anything.
No, I thought it was dead. I thought one day Lucasfilm, in like 20 years, will remake it as an action-adventure game in the style of a poorly thought-through Zelda clone.
Well, just because it hasn't happened yet. It's either that or like the mobile game. What was the one?
Yeah.
You know, where you have to run along, what is it, Cliff Runner or whatever, Pit Runner?
Yeah,
It'd just be that, but with parrots.
And monkeys.
And monkeys.
Wouldn't have any of the actual characters in it.
No.
It would be called Monkey Island.
Or you'd start with Guybrush, and then after you'd spent $30 worth, you'd unlock a lane.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not getting that. We're getting Return to Monkey Island.
Yeah, fortunately, we're not getting that. We're getting Return to Monkey Island, which apparently, it came out today, starts with Part 1, A Friendly Place.
Oh, yeah. That was kind of the main thing of excitement, wasn't it? The title card for the screen. Now, here's the thing. The music isn't the typical part music.
No, it's a bit of a remixed version of it. Sounds a bit more like the music from The Journey in Secret of Monkey Island.
That's exactly what I thought it sounded like.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah, but it's kind of a...
Sounds a bit like that.
It's kind of a sexy version of that. Like it's a... like you could hear it kind of in Escape. Don't you think? Imagine if you took that music and then had it in like Escape quality music. Kind of.
Well, it's got all that steel drums happening in it, which is so characteristic of the soundscape of both Curse and Escape, right? So it definitely feels like that. I'm looking forward to the soundtrack for this game.
So far, it's promising.
Yeah,
from what
I saw that Ron said that the version of the main theme used in the trailer was actually assembled. What's the word they use in musical terminology?
Composed.
Well, it was already composed. What do I mean?
How do you mean?
Arranged. It was arranged specifically for the trailer.
Right.
So
we might not necessarily hear that in game.
So I think that means that there's a lot of music, right? And there's a lot of investments gone into this music. If they weren't just like, we're going to reuse an existing track, we're going to use a whole new track just for the trailer. Yeah. So it means that wasn't just the version of the theme that we're going to hear.
No.
In the final game or anything. That's just an arrangement of it specifically made for that piece of promotional material. Yeah. Just like he said that all of Stan's dialogue on the website was written by Dave Grossman specifically for the website. as would make sense. So,
Yeah, it'd be
it feels
weird
like
if that was in
they're
game.
it feels like they're being very hands-on, basically.
It does. It feels like
stuff.
a small team kind of being responsible for this stuff.
Yeah.
Who edited the trailer? You know, Tim Schafer, probably.
He's too busy rolling around in money from Psychonauts
2. Not Full Throttle.
Not Full Throttle. Which skips over Full Throttle Hell on Wheels.
Hell on High Heels. Full Throttle 3. I'm going to have to put that sound effect in so many times now.
Let's just say it 50 times more.
Yeah. We'll have to start to refer to it as something else.
Yeah.
The motorbike game.
Yeah, motorbike adventure game.
Yeah, Maureen's Adventures with Ben. Yeah, so the one kind of little image we've got is a cleaver. A meat cleaver. What could that mean?
Lodged in a barrel or a log or something like that with some blood dripping off it, and it looks like there's a big hock of meat behind it.
Kind of reminiscent of the SCUMM bar.
Yeah, I'm suspecting that this probably is meant to be an image of the kitchen in the SCUMM bar. That would be nice if it was.
I feel like that's what it's pointing to, especially but the title. Imagine if that was actually in reference to the carnival. Ooh.
I did think about that. Could it have a double meaning and it's talking about the carnival? I mean, I think it's almost certainly talking about Melee Island and how unfriendly it has clearly become.
Or it becomes a friendly place.
I have wild speculation that Guybrush is going to be going around on Melee Island trying to carry on like things are just the way they used to be, and that Captain Madison and the new pirates just want him to go away and leave them alone.
You mean it's going to be Captain Madison has turned it into more of a cutthroat pirate hub?
I don't know what Captain Madison's done. I just feel like there's going to be this vibe of them just wanting Guybrush to go away. But it does seem like, from the trailer and stuff, it seems like the new pirate leaders possibly also go in search of the secret of Monkey Island. I don't know, I'm speculating wildly based on promotional art.
Yeah.
And that ship battle scene from the trailer could be absolutely nothing. Maybe LeChuck and the pirate leaders aren't even trying to go to Monkey Island. Maybe they're more interested in going to Terror Island or one of these other places that we've heard about.
Maybe we won't actually hear about the secret of Monkey Island, and that's just all bluster.
Yeah.
From Camp Gilbert.
Well, speaking of the secret of Monkey Island, there was also new long discussion posted with Dominic Armato.
The Twitch thing, yeah.
I'm Guybrush Threepwood. Boy, am I getting tired of saying this. Mighty pirate, yada yada yada.
I thought it was pretty good. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah. What was your takeaway? I thought it was interesting, him talking about the process of becoming involved in recording the dialogue for Curse.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear a bit more about that process and some of the work that he did with LucasArts around that time after Curse, like doing voices for Star Wars and stuff, stuff that he was doing in between Curse and Escape.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting because it had never really occurred to me that Dominic Armato did. I knew he was in Grim Fandango, but
I knew he was in Phantom Menace and things like that.
Is he? Okay.
I remember seeing his name in the credits when I eventually finished that.
Yeah, I got to hear more about his restaurant critic days, which was interesting as well. And how does one go from had to go and review food, which I knew about, but it was interesting to hear as well. How do you get involved in becoming a restaurant critic? And it's also funny to hear the career progression from actor to voiceover actor and voice of Guybrush Threepwood to restaurant critic, and then sort of back to voice of Guybrush Threepwood and the other stuff that he's doing now. There were some funny stories in there that are definitely worth watching about. There's a little story about when someone who worked for I think it was the newspaper he worked for, the only person who worked there who realised that he was the voice of Guybrush Threepwood. There was a funny story about that.
Yes.
And his story about when Ron got in contact with him to ask him to come back for Return, was cool too. Definitely worth watching for some of those anecdotes.
Because he's a Monkey Island fan. He's become kind of a bit of a conduit between the fans and the development team, don't you find?
Yeah, which he's described himself as occupying this sort of weird space where he's both a fan and a participant in the actual process. Because he posts a lot, not just on Twitter, but he posts on the Monkey Island subreddit.
Oh, okay.
And he posts on some of the forums and stuff as well, I think, sometimes.
I did enjoy just hearing him talk because it just sounded like Guybrush.
Yeah.
He's done a few things before, and I've seen interviews with him before around the time Tales was released. Do you remember that prank that Mixnmojo did?
Yeah.
Probably 20 years ago.
The Monkey Island 5 thing where he voiced Largo and Guybrush. Yeah, I do remember that. See, that was another time when it was like, haha, there's never gonna be
we're never gonna get another one.
Monkey Island, and that was before Tales.
Even before Escape, it felt like that, I think.
Yeah, definitely between Escape and Tales it did though. It was interesting to hear him saying that he had never met Ron Gilbert before 2010. I mean, why would he have? But still, it was interesting. It was interesting to hear that was the first time that they'd ever actually met, given that, you know, the creator of this character and the performer of this character.
I know that Ron and he kind of got together to discuss Return. He also mentioned working with Ackely and Ahern.
Yeah.
And there's another article. I feel like we're just writing on Mixnmojo here. Did you read through that?
That's all right. Yeah, I read the new Mixnmojo article, interview with Jonathan Ackely and Larry Ahern. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was good.
It was nice to hear their thoughts about some of the stuff that people say about Curse and what their decisions were going into it. About some of the things like following on from the second game and how they put the stuff in there about the previous game sort of later on for the benefit of people who had played them, while at the same time obviously not referring to them in much detail at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. It was also interesting, to see some stuff like Tim Schafer saying they were competing with the memories of Monkey Island 1 and 2.
Yeah, that was an interesting little
Monkey Island
quote.
1 and 2 themselves.
Yeah, I think that's a thing that kind of applies to anything like this. No matter what it is, any film series or TV series, you are competing with the memory of what people think they remember of it rather than what the actual thing was.
Yeah. Yeah, and there were probably a lot of people back then who, like us, may have only played the games under certain circumstances, like, you know, when you had access to a computer that could run it, or when you had access to the discs that had the game on it that had to go back to your dad's work at the end of the holidays, or whatever.
I've still got that disc.
The one with Secret on it.
Yep.
Secret Loom and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and Pipe Dream.
Yes. The LucasArts CD game pack. Volume 1.
Yeah.
There was a second one with Fate of Atlantis, LeChuck's Revenge, and did you have anything else in it? It must have, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
They weren't worth remembering.
And Fate of Atlantis worked without the disc in the drive, and
Yes.
LeChuck's Revenge didn't, if I recall correctly.
For some reason, yes. So we were left without LeChuck's Revenge for a long time. without copying onto the hard disk.
There were some other kind of common things that people think about Curse that came up that I thought was interesting, like the idea. I think one of the things that was mentioned was the final cutscene. You know, was that something that was cut for time, or you know, what was meant to be going on there? And they say yes, that was something that was they just didn't get around to finishing. There's an artwork that Bill Tiller did of a background of what looks like a house on a cliff at night that's maybe a barber shop or something. They said that was just a test. It was never, doesn't mean that the Barbary Coast was once on Blood Island or anything like that. They said that was literally just a piece of sample artwork.
Okay.
So that's not something
Have you
of any significance to the development.
Have you seen the little thing Bill Tiller did if Secret had been adapted into Curse graphics with the SCUMM bar
I think I have.
rendered in
Yeah.
his style? It was very nice.
Yeah, I need to look that up again because I don't remember what it looks like, although I'm pretty sure I have seen it before.
Keep an eye out because the Vampire Story is being re-released. Part 1.
Okay. Part 1 still.
Yeah, there was never a part 2.
Wasn't there meant to be a part 2, but he couldn't raise enough money
Something like that.
for
yeah.
it, or something like
Part 1 was good. Check it out.
Autumn Dream.
Indeed.
No, Autumn Moon. wasn't it?
Autumn Moon, yes. Ghost Pirates of Voodoo Island.
Of course, you idiot! We must be fully prepared. I am an expert on the Nosferatu. And one thing I know for sure is that the undead don't just sail up to you and present themselves.
Hello over there. Do you know a good place to land our pleasure cruiser?
What's Ron been saying?
Tweeted about how Twitter wants him to follow Ken Williams of Sierra fame
Yes.
on Twitter, and joking about a Monkey Island King's Quest crossover. Oh, there was a thing on the Ackely and Ahern interview about there was an early idea that the plot was going to have to be about Guybrush returning wedding presents rather than getting him, which I'm glad they didn't do because it sounds a bit limited. And one of the things they talked about actually in one of the questions, which I was just thinking about more generally,
okay.
was Monkey Island always reverting back to inventory combination
That's right, yeah.
as a mechanic, and how it often happened in follow-ups to games that hadn't had that. They said Full Throttle didn't have it, but then Curse did. They said that Grim Fandango didn't, but then Escape did, and that the Sam and Max Telltale games, etc. didn't, and then Tales did. And I think I read somewhere that the ability to combine inventory items was something that possibly in Tales Dave Grossman got them to implement, but that could just be hearsay. I thought that was interesting because the idea of combining inventory items to me is one of those things where when I'm playing other adventure games I always get confused when I can't combine inventory items with each other, because in my head that's just normal for an adventure game.
I feel like the inventory in a game like Secret of Monkey Island is not... It doesn't feel like it's just like inventory puzzles.
No,
You know what I mean?
but you can use inventory items on other inventory
Yeah,
items.
but it's it feels like the thing's not... The whole game isn't... The thrust of it isn't just trying to rub objects on other objects.
No, but I suppose for things like building the voodoo doll in Monkey Island 2,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
in some games, if you needed to combine items, you would have to put them on a special table or something like that, you know, or there would have to be some sort of environmental interaction to
Yes.
allow that to
Yeah.
occur.
Yeah, like you'd have to put a stick in a box and then tie a string to it.
Yeah, or as I just played in the Dark Side Detective, cover a fishing rod in maple syrup to get ants to come out of an anthill. think the justification being that that's a comedy game, and therefore
Right.
that kind of thing makes it okay.
You've not had to dip a teddy bear tied to a stick into a bag of salt.
in order to discover the last resting place of someone or other Defoe.
Will- Willem Dafoe.
I think that's most of the news, really.
Let's discuss a couple of the other facts that you unearthed
Today, or recently, in my,
recently. When you're digging through
heavy time
dialogue
wasting,
trees,
mining
yes,
the script of
script mining.
LeChuck's Revenge. So, with some fun facts I discovered that, as I suspected, the word zombie is never used at any point in LeChuck's Revenge.
LeChuck's Revenge.
The idea that LeChuck was a zombie pirate was something that was invented in Curse. I was about to say Tales for some reason.
And he's still called the Ghost Pirate LeChuck.
Yeah.
Is that actually said?
Yeah, the term Ghost Pirate LeChuck is actually said a number of times in LeChuck's Revenge.
Interesting.
When Guybrush approaches Elaine's gatekeeper, who's in the costume, he screams, "The Ghost Pirate LeChuck!" When he sees her, I think that he calls himself the slayer of the Ghost Pirate LeChuck, the Ghost Pirate LeChuck and his gruesome demise. The voodoo doll, the voodoo lady's crate is addressed to the Ghost Pirate LeChuck.
Yes.
Even the narrator says, eventually Guybrush and the rest of the slithering cargo are delivered to the very doorstep of the Caribbean's most fearsome villain, living or dead, the Ghost Pirate LeChuck.
Okay. I guess he does seem to have do you call it corporeal form?
Yeah, I guess it's just what everyone calls him that. Even like Governor Fat still calls him the Ghost Pirate LeChuck. Everyone calls him that. That was his name in the first two games, the Ghost Pirate LeChuck. GP LeChuck, as he calls himself.
GP LeChuck, yes, in the notes.
In the notes, yeah, in secret.
Yeah, it's interesting how this stuff kind of gets overruled by the later games.
Yeah, or once people start using an expression like the Zombie Pirate LeChuck, the Demon Pirate LeChuck.
The Carnival of the Damned.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
exactly.
guilty
The
of.
Carnival of the Damned. It all makes people think about this a different way. It's like Rum Rogers Jr. No one ever calls him Rum Rogers Jr. in Monkey Island 2.
No.
Which I've said before.
But it's all solidified in the canon now.
Yeah, it's all congealed. Well, everything's being thrown out now, isn't it? Potentially. We don't know.
Or it's the same,
We don't know what's going to happen.
and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. What else was there? There was that,
There was the one you told me this afternoon.
which was in regards to...
Okay, Ron, in his PAX 2013 keynote, talked about the ending of Monkey Island 2 and how he just came up with it in bed one morning.
Yeah, definitely worth watching that 2013 keynote. He said some interesting stuff about the writing of Monkey Island 2. That it was at PAX Australia. It was actually, he said, they hadn't come up with an ending. I think some people, this is known in some circles, but yeah, they were still figuring it out when they got to the end.
Yeah, and it's interesting that a game would go into development without being entirely planned out.
It seems like, I think that only part 1 and a bit of part 2 were planned out at the start.
Yeah.
This is like the whole thing with El Carlo and the idea that LeChuck's brother was going to be the villain. As I found this because someone pointed it out on Twitter, and on the back of one of the Amiga, I think it was a 1994 British Amiga release of LeChuck's Revenge, the back of the box says, Guybrush doesn't have long to rest on his laurels because LeChuck's brother is out for revenge. Which makes it sound like someone was writing that based on an early design document and not from the actual game somehow.
Yeah,
unless
it's funny that someone would just write it like
unless
that.
by LeChuck's brother they mean Guybrush himself.
Well, yeah.
They're just being really clever about it and very psychological.
Imagine if in return we find out that Guybrush's name is actually El Carlo.
That'd be brilliant. Maybe that's why.
You heard it here first.
Mark Hamill voicing LeChuck, and Guybrush's real name is El Carlo.
It's El Carlo. This is all coined here, and we predicted it when it becomes right on December 31st when this is released.
I mean, I would kind of be on board with that if Guybrush was being hunted down by LeChuck's brother, only to find out that he was being hunted down by himself. That can explain why everyone thought that silhouette on top of the cliff in the Return trailer was Guybrush from the past or the future. It's El Carlo,
And it was a chef.
yeah, and it was also
And
a zombie
that's-
chef. Yeah,
The SCUMM chef is El Carlo and Guybrush in the future.
Yeah.
He retires from pirating and becomes a chef, and then gives Guybrush the mission to go and find.
He's the one who first gives him the idea of becoming a pirate. In secret, that can be how it works. He whispered in his ear, "You want to be a pirate?" And he went, "Oh, what?"
Or maybe just before he appeared.
He's just off screen when
Yeah.
Guybrush walks on at the beginning of Secret.
There's going to be like a time vortex, and the very last thing in Return is going to be Guybrush walking out of the map on Melee Island.
Yeah. He's going to have to go back to Mist's Time Marsh on Luca Island.
And he's going to end up at the beginning of Secret.
Yeah. He's going to be an old man. And he gets
an old
reverse
man that becomes
age.
the lookout.
Yeah.
Lookout.
There you go.
You heard it here first.
Tell himself.
I really hope that doesn't
Tell himself
happen.
to go. Oh man, I would be
Scumbag.
so disappointed if something like that happened. Can you
This
imagine?
Return is... It's just all about how he loses his vision.
Him just needing
That would be pretty bad.
more and more intense prescriptions of spectacles until he ends up becoming the lookout from Secret.
Yeah, that's who that... Everyone's calling it the key shop or the locksmith.
Yeah.
He's actually an optometrist.
It just looks like a key shop because Guybrush has got bad eyesight.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
He can't. He's
Melee Island all actually looks
Yeah.
the same, but he's been blinded by gunpowder and smoke and grog.
yeah. Oh god, can you imagine? Like that would be like a Thimbleweed Park-esque ending, which is not real.
Let's not be too harsh on the end of Thimbleweed Park.
We're not being too harsh, but I'd prefer something other than the ending of Thimbleweed Park, or similar, or a twist like that.
Yeah,
I hope.
the ending of Thimbleweed Park is the ending of Thimbleweed Park. So this needs to have the ending of Return to Monkey Island, which is not that.
I'm just thinking of something where it's like, whoa, what a twist. And it all fits really neatly together. It's like the ending of like Donnie Darko or something. It all goes back.
Yeah.
Everything gets reset at the end.
Guybrush built C-3PO.
Yeah, one of those really, really massive quotation marks, clever episodes of modern Doctor Who, where it turns out that the Doctor was actually manipulating himself
Did it all
the
along.
entire time. I have this,
The detective is the murderer.
I have this idea. I was thinking when we were thinking about continuity. Is this something that infected people's imaginations with Harry Potter? Do you remember when the last Harry Potter hadn't come out yet, and everyone was speculating about how the locket from book 5 is going to be the locket in book 7, which it was, and that Sirius's brother was going to be the person who stole it, and he was, and that kind of thing.
It was all too clever. It was all too
It's like, why did she mention this if it wasn't going to be important? And of course, it all turned out to be important, and it all fit together like a detective story. And is it?
Then she went on to write detective stories. You know what they never explained though? What was happening in the veil, behind the veil, in Order of the Phoenix? That's all I want
They
to
were all
know.
having a party.
Yeah, all the dead people.
You just go behind the curtain, and it's like, oh. It's just
Behind the
people
Iron
having
Curtain.
cocktails.
This has gotten away from
Monkey Island. I just don't want it to be like this explains this thing and this explains this thing.
I like to think if it was developed by, say, Chris Yusko, we'd have Guybrush and Elaine in a car, and Guybrush would say, once we cross
Yeah.
over, things might all be
Yeah.
different. And then he'll say, what year is this? And Elaine will
Yeah.
scream, cut to black, and then the game just
Yeah.
quits. Auto quit.
Crashes your computer.
Yeah. You got to take the disc out and put it back in again.
But of course, if it was that, it would be funny.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
If Chris Yusko did it, it'd be funny.
Yeah. Chris Yusko, if you don't know, developer of, he made the Devil's Triangle, classic click and play fan game.
Monkey Island, yeah, and also
Island.
MI2,
MI2.
the remake, the click and play remake of Monkey Island 2, which turns it into a kind of massive 4.5 part tribute to late 90s, early 2000s pop culture.
Yes.
and it's
it's
brilliant. It sums up an entire generation in this one free click
really
and play game.
The parody of that, the trailer of that was opened with a parody of the trailer for Attack of the Clones. We're going to discuss that.
Yeah,
in a
we
future
are
episode,
gonna
hopefully not
talk
too far
about-
away.
We are going to talk about Chris Yusko's fan games at some point.
Yeah, because they're the best.
Yeah, they probably spent almost as much time playing them back in the day as I did playing real Monkey Island games.
Especially that I've probably played them more than Tales.
I've played MI2 more than Tales or Escape, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's
We should
funnier
do
than
a,
Tales.
Yeah, definitely. We should do a tutorial on how to get them running as
Yeah.
well, because it's not that hard.
No.
There was one other thing. You said in one episode that you thought Alexandra Boyd recorded her dialogue in the UK, but it turned out she recorded it in the States.
I was wrong
go.
because pretty sure there was something about her recording them in the UK for a special edition, but I don't know. I could be making that up. Anyway,
What else have you been wrong about?
probably lots of things. My overconfidence about my Monkey
wonder
Island
who-
knowledge.
With our huge subscriber base and our massive... Speaking of which, we're on Twitter
massive
now.
egos. Yeah, we are on Twitter.
Yeah, it's at the moment I've made the handle Pulley Podcast. But then I realised that we don't actually have the word pulley.
Yeah,
in
we
our
don't have a
name.
pulley in the middle. We've got a podcast
But
in the middle.
it had a certain ring
Yeah.
to it. Anyway, Pulley Podcast is our handle on Twitter. And I was wondering what level of Monkey Island related celebrity would we be able to get on Rubber Chicken with a podcast in the middle? Like, I'm thinking, would we be able to get Alexandra Boyd,
Don't
or would
think
we
so.
have to? Would we have to drudge the? I was just wondering how far down would we? Sorry, I'm not trying to put her down. This sounds really mean. What I mean is, in a funny way, who would be kind of the most obscure person we could get on for a chat?
I reckon someone who did like background voices in Curse or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Even then.
What about that
That would
guy
be
who
good,
did
though.
some of the background art for Curse and then got fired?
Oh yeah. Not
Yeah,
Bill
no,
Tiller.
the other
You're saying
guy.
Bill Tiller's beyond
Reproach.
reproach. Maybe when we get up to 100 subs, we will start reaching out.
See who wants to talk to us.
And more than 0 followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
And if this episode doesn't inspire you to follow us on Twitter, I don't know what
No,
will.
with this
Honestly.
level of raconteur-like discussion. What was the other thing I was going to say?
Cutlass
It was my
wit.
thing. My thing about the ending track of the.
It's like I just wanted to advertise the fact that I have now released my own line of shoelaces. Sorry, Bill.
The credits track of Monkey Island 2 and how in the special edition there's a part of the track that isn't actually there in in the,
You always come up with good stuff like this. You come up with the goods, man.
the actual original MIDI, the MIDI versions of that music, when it goes.
Step us through it from the beginning.
So, at the end of LeChuck's Revenge, the track that plays over the credits is a medley of various themes. Starts with LeChuck's theme, goes into one of Governor Fat's themes, then into Bloody Lip Bar and Grill, then into the carnival music from Booty Island, and then finally into the Secret of Monkey Island theme.
Yes.
And of course, as we all know and love, in the Secret of Monkey Island theme, there's a portion of it that I referred to the other day as the middle eight, because I don't know what you actually call it, because I don't know anything about musicianship.
Which bit are you
I mean the bit that
referring
goes
to, and I'll tell you if it's
do
the middle eight or not.
do 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 do. That
Yeah,
bit.
I think you could call that the middle eight.
Yeah, well, in the special edition, the whole track, the whole Secret of Monkey Island theme plays from pretty much from beginning to end. But in the actual original version of LeChuck's Revenge, it doesn't have that middle eight bit in it. It's the shorter version.
Over the credits at the end.
It's this is over the credits. It's just the main theme, and it's the shorter version without that bit in the middle. And then
Why
it just
is that?
ends.
Credits
And
are too
I think
short.
I think it's just because I'm pretty sure they completely sampled one for one the track from Secret. I don't think they bothered to re-record it for LeChuck's Revenge Special Edition, and so I think they just dumped the whole track at the back of that credit sequence and just left it as is, and that's why there's a mismatch between the arrangement as it is. Oh, now that I've remembered the word arrangement, I've used it so many times.
Arrangement is
Between the word there's a difference between the word arrangement in LeChuck's Revenge. No, there's a difference between the arrangement in the original version of LeChuck's Revenge and the special edition, and I don't think it's
Arrangement.
intentional. I think it's an accident. I think there's part of the theme is left in by accident.
Knowing a fact like that could get you into the college of your choice. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's a little reference to a line of dialogue in
For
Curse.
those of you who don't know.
Yes, all of the subs. We get a few people listening.
We do.
Why aren't you
We
subscribing?
do. Yeah,
Ring the
yeah.
bell.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and
Yeah. We don't have
and
Facebook yet.
subscribe to our Amazon
Should we have
self-published
Facebook? Do you
ebook series.
Do you have Facebook?
Do we want Facebook?
I could
More
do a
ways to
Facebook
embarrass ourselves online.
publicly. Yeah,
Just don't tell anyone.
that's just what we could call it.
Yeah.
That would be a good name for a podcast. Anyway, there was another thing you had about music. You'd figured out how the
I was
medley.
reading about how the underground tunnels music in LeChuck's Revenge works.
Yes, where did you read about that?
That was online. I'm always on the hunt for a good version of the underground tunnels music from LeChuck's Revenge, and this was on VGMRipped.net, which
I'm there every
Which
day, man. That's my
has-
homepage.
which has a rip of the ad-lib tracks from
Right.
LeChuck's Revenge, and it says
Does it have any music from the Journeyman Project 2 buried
it
in
may
time?
well
I'll
have
have to
Journeyman
have a look.
Project. And it says that the underground tunnels tracks are randomized. There's a front track and a backing track, and each time LeChuck zaps you, there are no results for Journeyman, I'm afraid. Each time
Come on, not even
Each
3.
time
Or Pegasus Prime.
LeChuck zaps you, a different randomized mix of the front and back tracks starts playing.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool,
Yeah.
the way they got them. So they're both in the same key,
Yeah,
or in
yeah.
related keys. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's argued here that they don't always sync up necessarily, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I assume that kind of gives it the off-kilter effect that you want at the end of that.
Yeah, well, that has the kind of eerie warbling music on the front, and then the background has the doot 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 kind of carnival theme subtly in the
Yeah.
background, foreshadowing where you're going with all this.
Okay.
But there's arrangements of that in the I think original kind of synthesizer based CD release of the Monkey Island 2 soundtrack, which was
I
replicated
suppose there would be.
for the special edition, accurately as far as I can tell, which puts them together in the most pleasing arrangements.
You know what you could do? You could get those rips and put them together yourself.
You can make your
could
own
be like-
custom.
Yeah, it'd be like one of those things at an interactive museum.
Yeah, make your own underground tunnels.
Make your own
Music.
Yeah, make your own spooky music by combining different things. Learn about
Spooky
music.
tunnel themes.
Learn about midis.
Get
Yeah,
yourself in the
spooky
mood
tunnels.
to write about the fundamentally artificial nature of the modern world.
Yeah, or just host a website that has rips of music.
Yeah, and have it
very old video
playing in the
games.
background on your Web 1.0 bare HTML website in the 90s with clip art.
I would. If I'd figured out how to host websites in the 90s, I would have.
People always say like Woodticks, the place where iMuse is shown off to its full potential, but actually there are interesting iMuse arrangements and transitions going on all throughout that game.
Maybe it's the whole game. The whole game is it's just a great example of the system.
Yeah, it's not just Woodtick.
No, it's not just Woodtick. Another good podcast name.
Yeah, I think that covers all of the weird stuff that I've bothered you with about Monkey
Yeah.
Island.
Well, you wouldn't shut up about it in a way. Is there any other Monkey Island related stuff you'd like to chat about? You've recently completed
Tales
Some
and
game.
Escape. I guess we'll save our
did you enjoy
our
that?
thoughts about Tales, but I recently finished Escape again, and part 3 of Escape is bad, and we will discuss that in more detail when we actually have a dedicated episode about it. But I had.
Does Escape have its defenders?
Oh, I think so. Aren't we defenders of Escape?
I think so, yeah. But we
We're
don't.
not apologists
we're
for
not,
it.
No, we're not fanboys. Well, we kind of are. I'm trying to think of another thing that people just kind of like because it's such an underdog, even though the quality is bad. Maybe Kiss's music from the Elder album, but that's not really a reference you'd understand.
No, it's not, but I'm sure there'll be someone among our many listeners who does understand that reference.
Smashing the subscribe button. Oh,
It's like what?
Monkey Island and Kiss references. I'm in.
Oh, it's like people who, say that Attack of the Clones is the best of the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, I guess that. I feel like, when you start to use like the Nazis as an example of bad guys, I always feel like, I'm not trying to make this comparison, but I always feel like Star Wars is kind of a lazy comparison to make.
Yes, I
What
just
I mean?
latched on to the easiest one that
Yeah, I'm
came
not
to
saying
mind.
like Disney and Star Wars is the Nazis, but what I mean is
What?
it's just equally as lazy to
What did the Nazis have to do?
I'm saying it's easy to, when you're talking about villains in history, for example, like you citing the Nazis, it's always it's a lazy comparison,
Right. Okay. I do get what you mean.
You could talk about the invading Norman forces, for example.
We could talk about Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Are there people who think Temple of Doom is the best indie film? There are.
Sure.
There are people who think that.
I made the comparison earlier today that when you were talking about Chuck's Revenge being kind of developed on the fly like that,
Yeah.
that's similar to how Temple of Doom came about. And but I feel like one of those things is possibly of higher quality than the other. Even though I really like Indiana Jones and I do like Temple of Doom, I think maybe the completion during development of LeChuck's Revenge maybe was a stronger version of that type of story coming together than was George Lucas coming up with really grim ideas while he shot a movie during a divorce.
Are you saying that if you were forced to choose which you loved more out of Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom, and Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge, that is the choice that you would make?
Don't make me do that. Don't make me record that as a matter of public record. I love them both equally.
I just think Star Wars and Indiana Jones, they're easy cultural touchstones to reach for when you want to talk about. There's always one that's sort of less popular than the others. I'm not going to make...
And they are also Lucas properties, as is Monkey Island. So I guess it's okay.
I'm not going to make a boring comparison to like Marvel movies or something like that.
No, I don't want to. I'm not saying go in that direction. I'm saying go in the other direction. You know,
something more obscure.
We should strive, as a society online or whatever, to come up with something.
Comparisons that are more interesting.
Not necessarily interesting, but just varied. I'm not saying I want to say Shakespeare. I don't want to lose my head.
Oh, that's a good one. It's like, what's the best of the big four tragedies?
Even just, what are the big four tragedies? Hamlet, Othello,
Macbeth, and King Lear.
Macbeth and King Lear.
What's the like underdog choice there? I don't know. I think it might be there. Macbeth.
I would have thought King Lear would be the underdog choice there.
It might be. I'm not sure. I reckon it's one of those two. Do you think that's to compare Escape to Monkey Island to King Lear? It's equally underappreciated works.
I'm just glad we've gotten there. This whole disjointed conversation, I feel like this is the zenith. Bringing these two things
we've basically
together.
we've established that Escape from Monkey Island is equivalent in some way to King Lear, and that's something that I want someone to write a paper about.
Dissertation, and I think that's something that you should do.
think someone should do it, and then they should send it to Noah Falstein.
I think he'd appreciate
he
that.
would.
Yeah, I mean, he's busy working on the follow-up to Fate of Atlantis. So it might give him a nice reprieve from trying to get that through to Kathleen Kennedy.
Like Iron Phoenix is crossed out, and then the other titles crossed out.
Spear of Destiny. All the Max McCoy novels developed into video games. This is getting very obscure, but yes. Yeah, okay. I'm glad we got there. Escape from Monkey Island is the King Lear of the Monkey Island series. Tune in next time and we'll ascribe the other three tragedies to their Monkey Island equivalents. And what's Full Throttle's equivalent in Shakespeare? Just to finish off, The Tempest.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm just going to say yes. Because...
Thanks for dignifying that.
Because it's,
an eventual response.
It's like... Ripburger is like the usurping Duke, and Ben, he's like Prospero, and then the old guy who gets killed, he's also
Caliban.
Prospero. Speaking of which, we were talking about Mark Hamill voicing LeChuck and joking about that, but of course Mark Hamill voiced Ripburger in Full Throttle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
wouldn't be that weird,
so he's
would it?
voiced a villain in a LucasArts point-and-click adventure game
I'd
before.
forgotten that.
Ripburger.
Ripburger. Yes, Mr. Corley.
He's like, yes, Mr. Corley.
Very good. Maybe you should do it.
I should play Mark
how-
Hamill playing LeChuck.
Yeah. That's your calling. It'll be interesting to host a full throttle themed podcast. Imagine
That
that.
would be a labour of love. Do you reckon you'd have to
Sure would.
devote an episode to each line of dialogue?
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
It's like, this week we're
Break
talking
down
about
each
Good Luck
character.
Polecat.
Let's talk about the way he says, Maureen.
I'm not putting my lips on that.
I feel like the discussion has gotten away from Monkey Island, but that's okay. We've had fun.
Yes. And hopefully next time maybe we'll actually talk about Rise of the Pirate God.
Rise of the Pirate God. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Just
we'll
gotta
get there.
play through Trial and Execution of Guybrush 3 and then
Yeah, stop. It's like you're peer pressuring me
you
there.
gotta...
I got a lot on.
Yeah, I know.
No, we'll get there next week. Next week.
You just gotta bust it out
Unless-
to big sessions.
Yeah, tonight. Unless something world breaking comes out between now and
Really
then.
hoping there'll be another teaser or something, or
Yeah, really. I'll be like desperately contacting Dom trying to get an interview.
script leak.
Yeah. Yeah, for you to go through with a fine
Yeah,
tooth
Control
comb to
F
see if they've mentioned the
and
word
see if
zombie.
the word zombie is used in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can do that thing to go through and see what the most commonly used word is. I'm surprised you haven't done that with the Chuck's Revenge. You should.
Well, you do it with the script for both. You feed them into an AI for Monkey Island 1 and
Yeah.
2. You feed them into an AI, and then that AI can just write you Tim Schafer, Ron Gilbert,
Just
and Dave Grossman Monkey Island
dialogue.
games forever. That's what it'll be.
And
in the
now that we've
future.
got, well, you know, in the new Obi-Wan show, how they make Vader's dialogue just out of AI. Now that we've got
Yeah.
so much Dom dialogue, especially from that interview,
Yeah.
link below, we could just
Yeah.
make these games
In
forever.
the future, when everyone's plugged into a virtual reality and doesn't know it,
The future is demolition.
yeah,
Man.
and they're all not aware that they're dreaming. They'll be like, "Oh, I really want to play Monkey Island 12," and then the AI
Yeah.
will just whip up Monkey
Just
Island
create
12
it.
for them.
And it'll have figured out what happened from Monkey Island 7 through to
Yeah.
11. Yeah.
It'll be like a hilarious Space Quest 4-esque gag.
Yeah, it'll be like the monkey strikes Island back. Or something
The
like
Chuck's
that.
revenge is revenge. You have to go back in time to stop Ron Gilbert from leaving LucasArts.
There's already the fan game. There's the Ghostbusters Monkey Island fan game. Are you across that? And I'm pretty sure there's a Back to the Future one. Back to the Future. We'll discuss that at length. I'll hook you up with that.
Thanks.
You'll love it.
To it.
Yeah. All right. We might wrap this up.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this
Alright.
very informative episode of Rubber Chicken with a podcast in the middle, full of insightful analysis of the Monkey Island series of adventure games. I'm Alistair.
I'm Governor Gordon.
And
Look behind you! A three-headed monkey!